I enjoyed a bad session.
What do you think?
We're to believe that the media, there was tremendous.
Pretty close, pretty close.
Is that true?
More putts, they probably
Matter of fact, the Europeans just played better.
This year's round cup.
Hey, what can I say? I'm trying to get into the sporting mood of golf with the upcoming golf tournament for Alzheimer's, York Region Alzheimer Society, with Jazzled Hearts. And recently I ran into Wendy Marais. She was downtown raising funds and trying to draw attention to another youthful cause. Let's go check it out.
Panel they've come up with to see if they can cure what's wrong with the American team. I mean, really?
The whole panel.
To see if they can cure what's wrong with the American team. I mean, really?
I think it's the
I'm getting there.
cure, you know.
Now comes the rain.
Jazzled discovered. How did you discover this, Kayla?
Okay, Kayla contacted me on LinkedIn,
Okay.
She found me because of the other work that I've been doing. And she contacted me and asked me if I could help her raise the funds that she needed to go on this trip.
Now, as I understand it, she's one of the
She's-
youngest to ever be accepted into this special program in Italy for opera.
That's right, she is the youngest.
She is the youngest.
She's the youngest teenager ever to be accepted in this program in Italy. And usually the people who get accepted are adults, because that is the nature of opera. But her voice is so good that they have decided to allow her like an exemption to participate in this course, right? So she contacted me and asked me if I could help her.
And she's slow on funds, correct?
She's low on funds. You know, it's a really great thing for the community.
And how good is she?
She is
How good is she?
fantastic. She's a wonderful voice. She has a huge future ahead of her, and this is such a good stepping stone for her.
And that's what Jazzled's about, isn't it? Discovering youthful talent and making things happen for them?
That's right, giving them a stepping stone, giving them the foot up to get to a higher place where that maybe a normal kind of program wouldn't necessarily be applicable to them. Our programs are applicable to them, right? And we help students who are looking at doing something different. So that's why I say that Jazzled is a unique educational opportunity, right?
It's part of what it is.
Yeah, it's part of what it is.
Awesome. Thank you, and I look forward to this concert.
I hope to see you all there.
And where can they give? I guess they were talking about starting an Indiegogo program.
Yes.
I guess I'll put that up on the screen if that happens.
Yes. We'll
Anywhere
do
else that people can get in touch so they can donate to her campaign,
yes,
or to get in touch with Jazzled?
They can get in touch with Jazzled at www.jazzled777@gmail.com, and we'd be happy to pass on their information.
She's got a concert coming up. She's doing a live performance in Aurora at the Aurora Trinity Theater, the Aurora Trinity Church. When's that? It's May 31st, I understand.
May 31st, Sunday, May 31st, at 2 p.m. And it should be a good turnout. There's lots of. Kayla will be singing along with some of her friends, and it's a beautiful church. The acoustics are amazing. You'll get a really good opportunity to see exactly what Kayla's capabilities are.
I look forward to it. Thank you, Wendy.
I can't wait to see you all there. Here we go. Okay, let's rock. And roll.
Recently, I got an opportunity to sit down with filmmaker Tom Pearson. Now, admittedly, I have no formal training with films, but tell me, how did you get involved in filmmaking?
I guess you could say I first got interested in films when I was a kid. I used to do a lot of different voices and stuff, and actually my first kind of films were plays mixed with recordings. We would do tape recordings of different voices and things like that, and sound effects and this type of thing. And that was my first fun with plays and filmmaking and that type of thing. And I always loved doing voices, and we would take a Beatles album, for example, and we could do all the songs, all the voices, and we would take songs like Maxwell's Silver Hammer and turn that into a play, and we had a lot of fun. And then later on we would get the video, be able to videotape things, and that's more or less how I got my interest in filmmaking.
Now, same-sex marriage is not the type of subject that everybody's gonna do. What made you do it?
Actually, how the A Thin Pink Line came to be, I was actually hired to produce a live public attending event called the Same-Sex Show, the Same-Sex Wedding Show. And during that process, I realized that there were the attitudes of people were, and media, things like that. They just seemed, it seemed like it could be a really touchy subject, and it seemed a good one to, if it could, to capture it. And I had been, you know, I'd gone to film school at this point. I just finished working as an associate producer for 4 years, producing feature films, feature family films like The Retrievers, played on Animal Planet, and then we had a feature film that had come out in the theaters at the time, Hansel and Gretel with Howie Mandel and Taylor Momsen from The Grinch. And so this was a whole kind of different ball game for me, a type of film. This was a documentary style, and but my filmmaker head did click in because I realized the attitudes from people, and that the fact that it was becoming legal across Canada at the same time. I thought, wow, this is really worth capturing.
Dundas Square in Toronto, Canada, because we want to find out what the average Canadian thinks about same-sex marriage. Canada has some of the most lax laws in the world regarding...
That's why I went about getting a crew together to follow me around to capture all this on documentary. And I actually have 22 hours of footage, and always meant to develop it into a feature film, but never have. And so this is just a 10-minute short that I have put together originally as a screener to show prospective producers, you know, what we had in terms of footage to create a feature-length film. But in itself, it's an interesting piece, and it's a snapshot of what went on as same-sex marriage was becoming legal across Canada.
Now, as a filmmaker, are you trying to inspire people, or are you just trying to please yourself? What's exactly the reason for doing a film?
So I would have to say my inspiration for A Thin Pink Line would definitely be the attitudes of just the general, some of the attitudes, not everyone. There was the attitudes in general, because some were very positive and were adamant that it should be legal, and others were just the same against it. But most were for it, but many were scared of it as an issue. Now, I'd always thought of back then, City TV to me was like the forefront of, they were the leaders in, you know, being, they always had the minorities and on TV before anyone else did, higher numbers of minorities in positions. To me, they were like leaders in that area. So I thought, well, they'd be right on board with the same-sex marriage stuff. But we could not get Chum Radio to call us back originally for advertising. Nobody called back. It was, and I thought, that's odd. But I was leaving messages letting them know what we plan to do. It was a same-sex wedding show, and first ever of its kind in the world, blah, blah, blah. We wanted to get going with our advertising, and I wasn't getting any calls back. And that is extremely unusual, as anyone will tell you in the advertising industry. If anyone's ever tried to sell you a radio ad or a newspaper ad or anything like that, those are gold calls. Nobody calls in, you know, out of the blue, willing to do wanting to do a big ad campaign, you know. So to not get a call back on it was very, very telling to me. And you know, as I say, things have changed in 10 years, including the ownership of Chum. But at the time, it was a cautious time for businesses and media alike. They could say what they want today. That's fine. But I know, I was there, and I saw it.
Mental health. It's not something everyone's going to talk about. What did you do that for?
Yeah, the other film, Shoot Scores, that came about, I was approached by the York Region District School Board to help produce they were looking for a film to be put together for their youth presentation that they do every year called the Quest for Youth. and that is the plan was it was going to be a live show mixed with film and music, so it was and art. So it was art, live theater almost, film, and all in one room with an audience. And what it would do would jump around from one thing to another, and so it was kind of a different project for me. And originally I had written something else, but they said, look, they really wanted me to incorporate the road hockey into it if I could, into the story. But the theme was mental health coming out of the shadows. So for mental health coming out of the shadows, I came up with an idea, and you'll see it in the short film. So it isn't really about hockey, shoot scores. It's more about mental health, and also there's other stories.
Now, can anyone tell me the difference between an antonym and a synonym? Someone other than Billy this time.
Well, thank you, Tommy, and you've been very insightful. I look forward to seeing your films tomorrow night at the Rainbow Theatre in Richmond Hill.